margin, padding, that how margin was collapsing. Okay, so especially we have to see the on collapsing how it will be, or margin also. So how the margin will be decided, which we have explained yesterday. Okay, when we have seen with the demo regarding the collapsing margin. Okay, what we'll do, we'll use the same code in writing multiple times the same thing. It will take time. Better we will use the same code, and please you practice it. We have seen that yesterday we just made a paragraph for the margin and padding, right? The same way, what we'll do now for the collapsing margin, how we have to see. As we discussed in previous class, we need two different division tag, right? And two different paragraph tag. So I'll reduce it. The number of paragraph to understand better way. I'll just create first a division tag, right? As we know that we have to create the division tag, and we need two different paragraph tag, right? We'll make as a paragraph tag one paragraph. We'll write here anything, collapsing margin. Okay, one paragraph over. We have to create another paragraph. We'll take another paragraph as a so now what we'll do, we'll take another paragraph, like we'll write something, or you can use some bigger sentence, then only it will be clear. So what I'll do, I'll take this line. Okay, I'll use it here. Same way, I'll use another paragraph, and in this also we'll use the same line. Okay, we need another division tag, will come out from this. Again, create another div tag. Again, another create two different paragraphs. So I'll use the same thing in all the. Now what we have to do, we have to define the CSS for the division tag. Okay, so we'll go with our embedded CS only. You can use even external CSS. I'll use div tag. We need border, some dotted line or solid line, whatever you need. If you want dotted line, you write as a dotted. 1 point color, what you want, you can choose any color. Okay, then padding we have to define. Okay, so we have to define padding. So padding will be 0, and now we have to define margin. So I'll define margin. As we have seen yesterday, we need a 90 pixel and 20 pixel. Okay, sorry, your should not be there. Okay, save it. And now our same URL is mp.html. Let's go to the browser, mp.html, and just refresh it. Okay. So when you get this error, that means your XAMPP is not running on machine. You have to start the XAMPP server. Started, you can refresh now. You can see the margin between these two lines between that, and from the top also. So this will be fixed here. 90 pixel margin is there. Okay, but still in between the two paragraphs is not there, right? So what you can do, we have just defined only for the division tag. Still we have not defined the collapsing the margin between the paragraph. So if you want to between the paragraph, then again you go to the CSS. Okay, you define for margin for paragraph. Okay, and you can write same way border. Okay, the same way you want solid, then you want the thickness same 1 point, and color will go with the red, and then we'll use here same way padding 0, same way we'll use here as a margin, but now margin will get changed as we have seen in previous. So we're going to change the 50 pixel and 20 pixel. Now, now refresh it. Now if you refresh, you can see that now the margin is defined between the paragraph, the main margin for the division, and between the division and from the top it is there. But when you define the margin especially, now this is the going to be collapsed. So this is the actually the collapsing the margin. Okay, this is the our demo of the collapsing margin. Okay, same way when we were talking about the width and height. Okay, we have seen for the width and height we'll use the same. Okay, or we'll create a, we'll save as a file. I will write wh, that means width height, save it. Okay, we have seen in previous presentation talking about the width and height, how you can define the width and height. That means you want a certain area. Okay, then what you need? You need only certain, whatever the paragraph we have, let it be there. Now the CSS we are going to change. Okay, so what CSS we need? Because we have the paragraph, only we are going to implement on paragraph. So on paragraph, what CSS we need? We need first a background color. Okay, so what background color you want? You want to be highlighted. Okay, so we'll use as a silver color. Save it. Let's see what result we are getting. This is the file name is widthheight.html. Now you can see that the complete it is the background color for the particular paragraph. We don't need so many paragraph. Just what we'll do, we'll delete remaining paragraph. We do not require here for this demo. We do not require here division tag also, but you can have division also, no problem. Now another paragraph also got removed. Okay, fine. Now you can see that, right? So we need some more lines, so it will at least 2 line, 3 line, it will get covered. Save it. Now it's okay. It's better. Okay. Now what we have learned in the previous, when we define the any paragraph, you can see that it is going to cover from entire width. Now I don't want this one. I want only the particular certain area. When you define like the layout, or when you are going to design the page, where you need in certain area the different like kind of banner, then that place you are going to use this techniques. So same way what we'll do here, you need to change into the CSS. What CSS you need to change? Because I need certain width. You can see that the complete width has been taken. I need only 50%, or I need some 200 pixel only, and there should be some height. So what I'll do now, I'll go to the CSS and I will define the width. Okay, I will define the width should be only 200 pixel. Okay, and then I will define height. Height I will define as a 100 pixel. Okay, and save it. The moment you save and refresh, you will see the difference. You can see, hope you are able to see, right? You can see the result. Only the width is 200, that means 200 this much is there, and only 100 till here your output is going to be highlighted with the background color, but remaining it will not get highlighted. This is your for margin, that means height and width you can define this way. Next, as we discussed about the overflow property. overflow property, we have talked about the visible, hidden, and scroll, and even auto features. So this property you have to implement and check how this overflow is going to be implemented. Okay. Then what you have to do, the same paragraph, just you come here and write here one more property as a overflow. In overflow, first we'll give visible. Okay, save it. When you say give the visible, you can see that there is no difference because it is by default whatever you have given, the same result will be displayed. The next we discussed about overflow property as a hidden. What will happen if I give hidden property? Then let's see the result. You can see here what happened. The hidden means only the paragraph it will display, those are defined into the height and width area. So only that much is going to be displayed. Others, it is hidden. You cannot see that, right? That is your hidden property. That is the hidden overflow. When you define a scroll, as I seen that we generally see the scroll feature, right? In any of the website, even in the browser, you will be having right a scroll down. Now refresh. Now if you refresh, you can see that now how much height of the particular content area is there, that will display here. You can see that you can scroll. This is your scroll property, and even you can see that because we don't have any width, so that's why, but a scroll bar will come, but it will not, any scrolling is not there because only our content is getting fit into in this area only. This is your property of scroll. If you give property as a auto, that means even if only it will display what actually required for the scrolling. That means if height is there, height will go. If width is there, width will go. Okay, refresh now. Saved. Okay, now you can see that the property has been, now the scroll bar for the width section is not there. Only you can scroll from top to bottom. So this is your overflow property. Next, we were talking about the sizing the element, right? That means when you want, you have some content, you want to define the size of the particular content, right? Then how you are going to do that? You can define in different way. So let it this paragraph division, okay, which we are going to use save. We'll save as the file first for the next demo. So the previous demo we have talked about the sizing element. I'll write as a S. We'll get shortcut name sizing element. Okay. Given me sizing.html. Okay. Let's save it. Okay. In this, what we want, we have already discussed when you need in percentage. That means two way you can define either in percentage or you can give EM. Already we have talked about EM means embrace. We are going to use embrace for the your layout. Okay. So what we need in first, what we'll do, we have a division. So whenever you are going to implement the area, that means sizing area, that means sizing element, then you have to define the class attribute for the division tag. I'll use as a class. I don't know what class because until we want to define in any CSS, we are not going to use it. Okay. So in CSS, what we'll do, we need something because we have discussed about, we need pixel value that will be 200 pixel by 50 pixel. This is the first paragraph in the division. We'll use another division tag. Okay. Another division tag we'll use here. Okay. In this division tag, either if you want to use a paragraph, you can use. If you don't want also paragraph, it will take automatically. That is not a problem. Again, we need another class. So we'll define another class. So we'll take a first class for the pixel because we are defining here pixels. Okay, and another class we are using for percentage, so we'll write as a percent. Then we'll accordingly we'll see that in this we are going to use percent. Okay, 50% of width and height. Okay, so that only this much. Save it. But still we have not defined the CSS because we need the class, right? Then you have to go to the CSS and you have to define the style sheet for the division tag. Okay, then how you can either if you want you can use inside this, or if you want you can define separately also. If you want like that also we can define here HTML. Okay, then for body tag we need the CSS. So what I'll do, I'll use here for, I'll define first, we'll give for margin. So margin initially we know that it will be 0. Then width will define 100%. Okay, for the entire. Height also will define as 100%. Define 100%. Then we need here background color of particular. So we'll give some background color as a silver. Okay, so this is only for the HTML head, HTML and body. So whatever the body inside the body, that it will be the margin 0. Body tag, it will be this. Next, because we have defined two class selectors, so now you have to define the selector in this. So you know very well when you are going to define this which selector we have to use for hash dot, you are very much aware about this. I'll use dot pixels. Okay, and in this we have to define. So what we need, the first one is the pixel. So what I'll do, whatever the my division tag is there, so that width is going to be defined as a 200 pixel. Okay, and I'm going to define as a height as a some value, any 50 pixel, can give anything, and then you can define any background. Okay, background, this background will be some teal color. Okay, so this is for pixel. Similarly you want for the percentage, right? Dot percent. Okay, and then you need width 50%, and similarly because we need in percentage, same way you can define 50 percentage, and then you can have again some background here. So okay, that's all. So this is for the CSS we have defined for the our sizing dot HTML. That means you are going to define the sizing element. Let's change our name, file name, that is now you can see that, right? The first one, what we have defined, the height and width, right? The height and width it has taken only for this much, right? Only 250 pixel. When you talk about percent, so it is taking 50% and also 50%. This is the thing. Okay. There. Okay, so that is your this one. If suppose you want to fix, okay, the parent, like I want to be fixed with some different parent relative, whatever the like child parent we have seen that also you can fix it, that you can define into the CSS and you can do that the same way. So that means you have to define in one more CSS, that is your like parent fixed. Okay, and define the height and width. Then parent relative you can define with the some other values, and that way you can define that we were talking about yesterday.